Hello, welcome. We got the new wave, first issue, issue number 1, right here. Only 50 cents, published twice a month, bi-weekly or semi-monthly, whichever way. No, wait. Is that right? Bi-weekly. Wouldn't bi-weekly? Yeah, okay, that is correct. Bi-weekly or semi-monthly. Sometimes that gets a little confusing because you'll see somebody publish something that's bi-monthly, but it's not every other month. It's actually twice a month. Anyway, I digress. The English language is not on trial here, although maybe it should be. What we're here to talk about is the new wave in our late night comic book review. Now, this book is a little bit of an outlier. Eclipse did this with a couple of books. They did it with Airboy. They did it with this. And there's probably, I've seen one or two other books that were published real cheap, twice a month, and like half the length of a regular comic. There's like, I don't know, 14 or 16 pages in here. I didn't count them, but they ain't that many. Which, to be fair, this was the era where you would see, this was 1986, and this was the time period where you would see people doing like a black and white indie book, and it would cost like $2.99. Like you'd see some absolutely crazy stuff from some of the niche publishers, and that's because they weren't publishing that many books. They weren't printing it in a large quantity, so they had to price it appropriately. So 50 cents, kind of a steal. This never really caught on with anybody. Marvel did like bi-weekly issues of like Spider-Man and stuff, and I think that did okay. But they eventually dropped that too. It was just too much work for people. Of course, those were full size, not half size like this. So anyway, we open up to a space station. Space. And here on this space station, we have the Corporation. Now, you know, an organization named the Corporation, who appears at the beginning of a comic book and is responsible for the events that unfold within, can't be a good, the Corporation. It has to be for evil. And that's kind of what's going on here. We got homeboy Mr. CEO at a board meeting, and he's like, yeah, we'll take care of it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm going golfing. That's the introduction to him. I have no idea what his name was, who he is, who any of the other board members are. There's a ton of bickering here. It's kind of not particularly interesting. You could probably have summarized that whole page in like a single panel of the CEO walking out. Meanwhile, you're like, bro, Elizibar, you're ignoring the blue guy on the left. You're right. I am ignoring the blue guy on the left. I don't think we ever get a name for the blue guy on the left. He doesn't speak in this issue. He's just kind of mystified at being trapped in a glass prison. Turns out that we were doing some evil mad science here on the space station owned by the Corporation. And as part of that mad science, he was yanked out of his own dimension and brought here to ours. Or theirs, I guess, because this is clearly not our world, because we don't have a giant evil space station run by the Corporation. Instead, we have like a much smaller space station called the ISS, and before that we had like the Mir, and that's kind of like it, right? Well, there's also Skylab too, wasn't there? So I guess we've had 3 space stations. However, none of them were large and run by the evil the Corporation. There is just an absolutely gobsmacking amount of people talking in this issue, and not a whole lot of me caring about the stuff that they're talking about. It honestly was kind of a chore to get through this book. They introduced like security robots somewhere. Hold on, let me find that. Yeah, so like the dude is like in his sauna here, right? And we got like robots over here, and the robots are keeping people from leaving. There's like a massive wind, like somebody broke wind. Fart joke. But there's like massive wind in the laboratory because of this guy that got summoned. The guy comes out in his bathrobe and is like, aha, I'm brilliant. You people need to begin doing science on him. And they're like, we have no idea what you're talking about. What kind of science you want us to do? He's like, examine him. And then stuff happens and robots appear. Look, the robots on the cover. None of these other characters are in the book in this issue. I guess they don't get introduced until the 2nd issue. This was not a successful book to read. You know, those robots are also in the 2nd issue, which is billed as being for America's #1 team. You you got to really prove that one, because you're going to have to fight me that it was not the Justice League or like the Avengers at this point in the 80s. Like, I could believe one of them, some random team here, probably not. Heck, I could believe the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because this was a little bit after the first Turtles book came out, and I could totally believe that, because that those first several issues of Turtles stuff, like I've read that, that is amazing, mind-blowing material. This, on the other hand, kind of a slog. Lots of arguing. Not a lot of people that I care about ever seeing again. Ever. Blue Guy was kind of interesting, but only because he's blue and he has no idea what's going on. Back cover, we also have you can win $1,000 if you're the first to solve the mystery in Who Done It, which is a comic book where you solve the mystery and you get $1,000. Also published by Eclipse Comics. That's an interesting gimmick. I bet that didn't last too long either. Okay, that's it. You all have a great one. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I hope to see you again next time. Until then, bye-bye.